Okay, we are opening up the new and improved PI intake manifold from Summit Racing. This also looks like the identical, same exact design as the Ford Performance one. Almost identical. Which leads me to believe that this may be the same as the Ford Racing one, the Ford Performance one. Not the Ford Racing, but the comes with the brackets, the thermostat, screws, the bolts, everything that you need. I know the Ford Performance one has a gasket right here where these look like they have a little bit of a shorter and a wider port that matches up. So almost identical, but not quite identical. And I know LMR tested Dorman's intake manifold on the Crown Vics, the PI setup. LMR also tested the Ford Performance one, the new one that replaces the factory PI intake. And then they also tested the PI intake. They all had their benefits of performance range on where one did better than the others. And the PI made the most power, but it made the most power and at a higher range, which the Dorman and the Ford Performance made more power at a lower range, but they didn't make as much as the PI factory intake. You had to get up to like 5,000 RPM to be at max power. So we're going to use this. This has a coated runner in the rear here that is part of this. Looks like this is, I don't know if this is serviceable or not. You can, it looks like you can pull this out of here. You sure can. You can pull that out of there. You can put it back in. Bolt it down so it seals. Same deal over here. No, that's in there. Let's get the PI intake out here and look at it compared. Let's compare the two next to each other. Now we're looking at the Ford Performance, the PI intake with the insulated, blown out belly insulator. Let me pull this off. I was going to put the factory intake back on it, but once I seen how the plastic was cracking away right here and this was starting to come apart, I did not want to have those type of problems. So I said, to hell with this. And everybody wants a premium price for a freaking, what do you call it, a PI intake on eBay and stuff like that, and I'm not doing that for a used one. So I selected this because on this particular model it looks like you don't need to run gaskets because the gaskets are already built into the actual manifold itself. According to this, it says 2005 Crown Vic, 2005 Grand Marquis, 2005 Lincoln Town Car, 2008 to 2011 Crown Vic, EFI NA, 2000 to 2001 Grand Marquis Sport, 2000 Mustang SN95 mod 4.6 liter, Lincoln Town Car 2001, less engine coiler 2001 Crown Vic Sport Equipment Package, 2001 to 2004 Mustang, 2004 Mustang all mod 4.6 liter gas engines. I don't know why this wouldn't fit my car because I don't see my car listed in there. It's a 2007 because it goes 2005 Crown Vic, Grand Marquis, and Lincoln Town Car, and then it jumps to 2008 Vic, Grand Marquis. The gaskets match up. I might have to do like an extra fitting or something somewhere. What I like about this is this actually looks like it seals better not having these gaskets on there. It's got a wider mouth and it's got a it's very nice setup overall when it comes to how the gasket should match up with the cylinder head, which is kind of confusing. I don't see anything on the bottom that's different, really. Let's get the other gasket real quick. Is it different? It is different. Does this one go over here? So that one can go on that side. And this one over here. Are these incorrect? These are two of the same one. Which means how would this have, I'm getting confused now. Okay, so that does fit that. And that fits that. This side matches up. This side right here doesn't have anything in it. There's no hole in it. Okay, one goes there. Let me put it on and see what it does, what it looks like. Honestly, it looks like it fit, and what I'm liking about the Summit one is what they did was they cut this off right here. They came around here and made this one runner and made this completely separate, and the entire piece right here is aluminum. Let me show you what I'm talking about. See how this is all aluminum now. There's no plastic coming out right here. There's a seal underneath this that seals. See the coolant seal right there? And then if you look down inside, it all lines up. No problem. Same thing here. No problem. And even back here where I was kind of questioning what the heck was going on, you can see the passage is a little bit different, but it covers that whole entire piece right there. Doesn't look like it would leak. Like it goes wider than where the coolant part is that comes out. In 2007, things did change a little bit. I'm pretty sure it was like 2006 or 2007. You see, this is from a 2007. And there's no coolant ports. There's no sensors and stuff in it, where when you look at the one from Summit Racing, they put those ports in there. One of them's blocked off, but not both of them being blocked off. So that's definitely looks like it'll fit. Looks like it will work. I'm not entirely sure that it will, but I'm gonna have to block off this port and this port and go from there. I'm missing one of my intake manifold bolts and I cannot find it, so I'm gonna have to just make do with what I have for now and put these on there. That's a nice manifold. It looks really nice. And it's like $150 cheaper than the Ford Performance replacement one for the PI intake. I've got the intake bolted down. I have got the fuel oil transferred over with the injectors, and I tried to clean up as much as I could on that. It's going to need a good washing whenever I'm done. What else? I got to hook up the coolant line there in the back, which I don't have the line right now. If you look back here, they leave enough of that plastic junction out of that coolant thing where you can put the hose right over it. If you look at the factory PI intake that was in there, it's got this little nipple sticking out. It's plastic as well, so they leave enough of it there for you to put the new hose on. And there's nothing else really that needs to be transferred over on this setup, other than there's two different options of fittings you have for the coolant port in the back. And I don't know if you guys know the history of these Panther platform cars, but back in the day, typically most of you won't know this. Some of you OGs that have been around these cars for a long time will, but most of you younger guys that have had to deal with these Mustangs, Grand Marquis, Crown Vics, and stuff like that more than likely won't know this. Back in the day, there was an issue with the heater cores leaking. I would say probably late 90s, early 2000s. The heater cores would leak, and they would basically pit and eat away at the inside. And they tried everything. You have to flush the coolant more often. I'd say probably by every like 30,000 miles, flush the coolant, because once the coolant would degrade, electrolysis would start inside the cooling system. You could actually measure by going from ground on your voltmeter, ground from the voltmeter to the battery, and then positive into the coolant, and you would see an actual reading creep up on coolant that was old. Voltage would start to leach out into that coolant, and it would cause some of the erosion and stuff as well. And then they were like, well, they put upgraded fittings and the actual heater core inlet and stuff like that. Well, this intake has this little valve thing here. There's one that's a block off that you can slide down in there and snap in right here. So you can put this one in and plug that off completely and bypass the heater core and bypass this line right here. Or you take that out of there, and this is a valve that will help break up the flow of the water and slow it down some. So whenever you go to put your hose and stuff on there, you won't have, or you're actually adding like a little bit of an update to the cooling system to stop that thing from rotting out in the future. So yeah, I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but you know now. And now that I've got that transferred over, the little nipples locked in, it's pushed down in there and turned so it's aligned with the direction of the engine. I can take this and put it back in the package, and basically the intake manifold is installed. Now theoretically what I'd have to do is, I should put these heater core lines on. I should go ahead and get these two new hoses that I need to get coming for this heater core, get this intake manifold hooked up, and cap off. Maybe I could get the intake manifold hooked up, get what little bit of stuff I need to do on the front. No, I can't do that. I should just go ahead and honestly, yeah, what I should do is I should just go ahead and put those two hoses on in the back, cap off this water inlet right here, and cap off the water inlet right there, and go ahead and fill this engine up with water and see if that intake manifold leaks. That way I can give it a real good check. Or pop this thermostat housing back out. Actually, that's what I should do. Pop the thermostat housing back out, pull the thermostat out of it, and then pour the water in there with that capped off down there, and just let it rise until it starts to come out of the hose in the back. So I only need one cap, and see if it starts to leak out around that runner in the back on that left corner where it kind of looks a little shoddy. I mean, it looks like it's sealed fine, but it's instead of it being really far from the edge, it's got like a 1/4 inch from the edge or something like that, which is still good, but I don't want no problems, you know. So at this point, what I'd like to do is go ahead and change my two pulleys out, get my alternator put on, and then probably stop for right now. and get those two hoses coming for the heater core. So this is a ported upper plenum. You can see the porting that's been done. I ordered this from ADTR. They sent it to me a while ago. It's going to replace the factory one that goes right there. This is substantially larger, more flow, more volume. But anyway, this is what it's looking like so far. I got the heavy duty Fleet Runner belt on. I got the Summit Racing bracket that comes with the kit. Got my alternator bolted up, fuel line hooked up. Just kind of got the throttle upper plenum and the throttle body just sitting there for right now, because I want to come back and clean everything and start hooking all that up. But before I do that and put that on there, I want to start running the wiring harness all around. Anyway, I want to start running the wiring harness around all that, and then finish putting the upper end stuff on there, and then go ahead and start working on the cooling system, get all that in there. And then I'm going to get that newer transmission right there, the PTC 3000 stall converter, put in it, and then get that transmission out to the dealer one of these weekends and go ahead and stab the transmission and finish this project up, so at least I can run it and move it around and it's not sitting here. And if you're asking, that bracket that comes with that plenum from Summit Racing, does the old beauty cover fit? Yes, it does. It fits right on that bracket. So I'm not sure if I'm going to run into problems. I'm not sure if I just wasted a bunch of time putting that intake manifold on there. It looks like it's a lot nicer actually than what I thought. I thought it was not going to be as nice as it is, and it seems like it's made of very good quality. I just got to order the 2 heater hoses when I go in there. Pretty much I've got everything else. I might have to order some oddball stuff here or there that might push me off a week or two, but I foresee within the next month, maybe 2, having this car back on the road and being able to enjoy it before the winter hits. That way when the winter comes, I can put it away and keep it out of the salt. It's only got 33,000 miles on the body. The engine had 60-some thousand miles on it, but I ripped all that down, new timing chain, new guides, cleaned the engine out, new valve seals, new everything. Every new gasket that I could possibly replace has been replaced. So the engine's like practically brand new. Yeah, wish me luck. Thanks guys, I appreciate you watching, and let's see what this looks like all put together. I'm crossing my fingers for this intake manifold. An intake manifold that has the gaskets as part of it for a Panther platform, and this vehicle's not even listed on that intake manifold, and it fits, and we don't have to have gaskets. We just got those, the individual gaskets. I'm in. I love it. Take care. Be blessed. And for those of you looking for the part number for that Fleet Runner heavy duty belt for this, 191-86304, or this other number. And the part number for the belt tensioner that I use is 419213. And why would I use a Dorman belt tensioner in place the factory Ford tensioner? Well, Dorman oftentimes takes the factory parts and actually makes them better. They've been really focusing on that the last few years, contrary to, you know, all the negative PR they get sometimes with certain electronics. When it comes to components like that, they do a lot of research into it, and they usually upgrade seals and bearings and stuff like that. Even like the PTUs and stuff in the Explorers and the cop cars and stuff from like 2011 to 2019, they've redeveloped and redesigned, I should say. Not designed. They've made things better inside the PTUs. Like they've increased the protection of, or they've increased the quality of the seals so they could go to like down to negative 40 degrees, or as high as like 600 or 700 degrees without melting and coming apart like the factory Ford stuff does. So there's some good and there's some bad, and typically when it comes to stuff like that, if I can find a part that goes on an engine that's more of a mechanical component or something like that, I will buy the Dorman, because they typically made the part better in some form or fashion. Or I'll buy factory, either one. But I try to buy the Dorman one because they typically have to change the design because they can't copy the manufacturer identically. So they typically will make things actually a little better. Anyway, be blessed. Again, take care.
I'm out. Going to bed.